My name is...
What?
My name is...
Who?
My name is...
Scientists took out the left half of a man's brain and asked him to count to 10. He says 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They put the left half back in and removed the right half, asking him to count to 10 again. He says 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Finally, they decided to just go for it and removed the whole brain. They again asked him to count to 10 one more time. He says, look, I'm really good at counting to 10, okay? I love numbers and I have the best numbers. No one has better numbers than I do. My 4th grade math teacher, and let me tell you, she was the best and smartest math teacher in the country at the time. My 4th grade math teacher said to me that I am the best counter she's ever seen. The best. So if you want me to count to 10, let me tell you I can count to 10, all right? That's no problem, I will do it. I will, and I will do it better than any has ever done it before.
Hello. Let's get caught up. There's so much happening back to back. It's hard to get everything in a day, so here we are. Now, since we've already started with Trump, might as well keep it going. If you're not aware, Trump is currently blaming Ukraine for the Russian-Ukrainian war. But we know that the other 50% of owning Trump's ass is Putin. So, of course, Trump would take to Truth Social, where truth goes to die, and post the following. It's a bit long. Think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Vladimir Zelensky, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't Sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent him is missing. He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls, and the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle, a dictator. Without elections, Zelensky better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something all admit only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered and millions have unnecessarily died, and so it continues. The dumbass ramblings of an idiot. How are you going to have elections in the middle of the war? How are people going to safely get to the polls? Russia invaded Ukraine. This started with Crimea. This is all things that we saw with our own eyes in front of our face. And what gravy train? Zelensky is not pocketing this money. We can tune in to the news, social media, etc., and see where the money is going. But let us not forget, Trump is the same one who bought into a bullshit lie that the United States was sending condoms for the production of bombs in Gaza. See, at this point, I think people are putting things on the internet, on certain sites, on certain apps, just to fuck with Trump, just to see how far they can get things to be done. Unfortunately, these are the same type of people that don't realize the real world ramifications of these little pranks that they're playing. Unfortunately. Like, it's a great, good little laugh if Trump wasn't a bumbling idiot and if he wasn't the current SCOTUS. I mean POTUS. But oh, Lord, 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 Lord. And I wish I could say that's where Trump stops. It's not. It is not. Oops. I really, really wish. It wasn't what it was. But coming from HuffPost, try not to sneeze here. Trump's new executive order sparks fierce backlash. Full-blown power grab. But power grab for whom? That's the question. Donald Trump's latest executive order raised serious red flags for critics on social media who feared its effect on the rule of law and warned it could signal a constitutional crisis. Everything is signaling a constitutional crisis. And I know some people are wondering, like, oh my God, Taz, why aren't you making a bigger deal about all these constitutional crises? First of all, we have yet to have a president in office that somebody didn't like what they were doing or people were uncertain because of the ambiguity of the Constitution, and we did not follow the suggestion of the founding fathers and update it every 20 years to adhere to the times and what's going on. So constitutional crisis has been tossed around since we've had a president. At this point, to me, it's no different than a talking point. But what Trump is doing is detrimental because people keep allowing him to do it. You're attributing things to him that you shouldn't, which is causing fear. For more on that understanding, subscribe to my Substack. I wrote about it this morning, but let's continue. White House Secretary Will Scarf announced Tuesday at a press conference alongside Trump at the president's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. Why is he spending so much time? And you know what? Because he's going to make the presidency for profit. That Trump was essentially bringing independent agencies under the control of the White House with increased supervision and therefore reestablishing the long-standing norm that only the president or the attorney general can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is. So you want to cut down the federal government and agencies, etc., within the federal government that already do this to bring in private entities to put in the manpower, money, etc., to change it. That's okay. Legal experts and political opponents push back and argue that this is an unconstitutional move by the Trump White House, especially given how several of Trump's executive actions from his first weeks back in office are now facing legal challenges. Trump, nor the Heritage Foundation, nor Musk are considering or even worried about the real world ramifications of these things. They don't care. They know that their sycophants are going to be like, oh, he's working so fast. Look at all the work he's doing. Trump literally works 2 to 3 hours a day, and that's it. And he's a puppet. The Heritage Foundation has completely taken a knee to Musk. But y'all keep acting as if Trump is the dumbest motherfucker on the planet and the most diabolical person on the planet. Which is it? Which is it? Is he Pinky or is he the brain? Which one? Critics called the order a full-blown power grab wrapped in authoritarian cosplay and a coup. Former federal prosecutor Elizabeth De La Vega posted, "I'm sorry, but this just makes me want to laugh hysterically." As it should, but it should if it were legitimately a joke. But it's unfortunately not. It unfortunately is. It isn't. That's. What can one do? What can one do? Now, coming from Law and Crime, irreparably harmed the presidency. Trump asked SCOTUS to let him fire Biden ethics enforcer, claims he's suffering unprecedented assault on the separation of powers. Wanting to remove the separation of powers does not. Trump continues to be a larger and larger and larger example of entitlement and white privilege within the United States. If you don't see it now, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. Believing that everything that you're doing to other people, you saying you want a meritocracy, so the playing field is evening and you're getting held accountable for what you're doing is an attack. Oh, good grief. And for those of y'all that are saying, well, this is step 1 and step 3 of a dictatorship. Trump really, truly isn't trying to become a dictator. Trump is getting his lick back. Trump wants retribution because if it was about dictatorship, he would be going through picking out people who have gone against him and looking for people who are truly loyal to him. He's literally like, oh, a Democrat got you in here, you're out of here. Because he has no smoke for the Reagan appointed and Nixon appointed prosecutors, judges, etc. He's getting rid of any checks and balances that could potentially embarrass him because he didn't want to be corrected during COVID. He doesn't want to take responsibility due to the deaths in COVID. He doesn't want anybody to know that he was ever wrong. He doesn't have a cohesive plan because he is banking on the lie that the vast majority of the United States is racist. And given that the vast majority of the United States didn't even vote for him and does not support him, that reigns true. But I will tell you the vast majority of the United States is too chicken shit to take a firm stance. The vast majority of the United States is going to straddle the fence. They're not going to truly believe in anything. They just want to be comfortable. And they don't give a damn if anybody else is comfortable or if anybody else can survive. Don't like what the fuck I said? Don't watch. Less than a day after being shot down by a federal appeals court, President Donald Trump's Justice Department asked the U.S. Supreme Court on Sunday to sign off on his repeated attempts to boot Biden ethics enforcer Hampton Dellinger from his post at the Office of Special Counsel, arguing that judicial rulings handed down against his termination in recent weeks irreparably harmed the presidency by curtailing Trump's ability to manage the executive branch in the earliest days of his administration. This sounds like a toddler saying, you know what, Granny, tell mommy and daddy not to let me have a bedtime because it messes up with me trying to figure out what's on TV after 9 o'clock. Because it's my God-given right to know that. I know it's going to mess up the rest of the schedule for the rest of the day and I'm going to be cranky and blah, 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 blah. But let me do it. Let me do it. I'll be the first toddler ever to do it right. Until now, as far as we are aware, no court in American history has wielded an injunction to force the president to retain an agency head whom the president believes should not be entrusted with executive power and to prevent the president from relying on his preferred replacement. Trump's DOJ wrote in its emergency Supreme Court application, this court should not allow lower courts to seize executive power by dictating to the president how long he must continue employing an agency head against his will. Okay. First of all, journalists, I need y'all to do a better job. Make things plain and clear. That's not what's going on here. Okay. Nobody's saying, hey, every administration is forced to keep this. People have certain limits. They have contracts on positions to ensure nonpartisanship, to ensure that we, the people, are being represented and protected. If each president can come in and go, oh, no, everybody got to go because you may or may not agree with me and I need you to agree with me, we have a fucking problem. You all are missing the plot so badly. This is not about being loyal to a person. The federal government doesn't work for Trump. The federal government is comprised of us and worked for us. And y'all have forgotten that. And you're just sitting back acting like you can't do anything. And you're like, well, they're just going to do anything. They're doing what you have allowed them to do up to this point. Use your Karen and Richard powers for good finally. Okay, take all that energy that you take down to Becca and Jeremy down at the Piggly Wiggly because they didn't have your favorite soda this week. Okay, take that same energy that you have for Jeffrey down at the McDonald's because they didn't salt your fries enough. Okay, have that same energy that you have for Annabelle when you go down to TJ Maxx and one of the employees was able to put something on hold to go get during their lunch break and you want it now. Okay, have that same energy, okay, that you have for Rebecca when you go to Texas Roadhouse and you want 20% off of your meal just because. Because we are down to a point where it is literally life or death. I need y'all to finally learn from history. And I'm not even asking you to go back years. Just go back a few blinks to COVID-19. Because we have some outbreaks happening that could make COVID-19 look like a simple sneeze in the wind. Because we already know how much he's going to lie. The Supreme Court application marks Trump's first appeal to the country's highest court since he took office in January, kicking off a string of multiple firings at his hand, which have sparked lawsuits and judicial shutdowns. Here's the thing. He technically isn't even responsible for the firing. That is Musk. He's just doing everything to stand by his man. And he's trying to appear as if he's in control where he's not. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Y'all sitting there talking about, well, Sleepy Joe, such and such was running this and had the blah, blah, blah. You're getting what you spoke into existence with Trump. You know that, right? We went from every projection is a confession to you being prophetic in your words. What you are accusing other people of, you're getting in Trump. On Saturday night, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit rejected an attempt by the DOJ to greenlight Dellinger's axing, voting 2-1 to let him keep his job through a temporary restraining order, TRO, issued by a lower court judge last week. Trump had asked the D.C. Circuit to rule by noon Friday, saying it had the opportunity to seek expeditious review from the Supreme Court should the DOJ be swatted down. The rejection came Saturday just before 11 p.m. That's all sorts of inappropriate interference. The president of the United States cannot put time frames on courts. We have branches of government for a reason. Did y'all forget? You know what? Schoolhouse Rock, I need y'all to come back. Okay, we need some after school specials to come back on the air. All right? Like y'all, you know what? Networks, y'all realize that a lot of the boomers did not get a full education. Y'all keep joking about George Bush and No Child Left Behind. This is why all history is important. Y'all do realize during desegregation, there were entire school systems that instead of integrating, just shut down. So you had boomer parents that didn't know a bunch of stuff. They were grandfathered into jobs, and that's all they knew. They knew a whole bunch about one particular area, because that's what their lives were consumed with. And then Gen X came along and networks and everybody was like, we got to help these kids. Okay, let's put out some reminders so them parents remember that they got kids, because they didn't want to have kids. They were just told you got to have kids. They didn't know why they had to have kids. They weren't told that they had to raise the kids. They was just told they had to have them. They didn't say they had to keep us alive. No, nothing. See, they didn't realize that they were just being forced to keep a workforce populated. And they were like, you know what? Let me help these kids out, because they just a bunch of latchkeys just sitting around trying to raise themselves. They brought out after school specials, the programs, stranger danger, the frying eggs to show you what drugs did. That didn't help, because that just pushed a lot of people into the drugs. So we need to bring that back. We need to bring that back, because with the boomers plus the No Child Left Behind motherfuckers, shit is going to shit. And this is how we got here. And y'all running around here acting like you terrified of a motherfucker who has no idea what 1 + 1 is. Like, I really need you to let that sink in. Y'all are really out here cowering. They're gonna do and Lord Jesus, stop throwing damn Russia into everything. They're gonna collect this and they're gonna sell us out to Russia. No, they're not. Trump wants to be Putin. He's terrified of Putin. But yeah, no. What's going on over here and all of Trump's little plans and stuff, that ain't got shit to do with Pooty Poop Poop. Nothing. Like, Lord Jesus, Mary and Joseph, y'all. Some of y'all, most of y'all, all of y'all are in the wrong profession. Just tap into Hollywood. Tap in. Okay, tap into Hollywood and start writing for them. Cause y'all write some fan fictions that'll put everybody to shame. And quite honestly, I'm Lord. Oops. So there we go. Sorry, got a extra screen on big. And from, I didn't have this on any bingo card ever. From the Associated Press, Mike Pence emerges as one of the few Republicans willing to challenge Trump 2.0. You know it's bad when the biggest bitch in the room is ready to put on their big boy pants and squabble up. Because I can't stand Mike Pence, okay? He is definitely on the big beef list, okay? Because I got big beef with him for a multitude of reasons. But at least Mike Pence can remember the power is in the people, not in a solitary politician or a political party. All of this, they're just going to do what they're going to do. They've always done. No, the fuck they haven't. Y'all keep turning over your power. But then will be the biggest ones to victim blame and shame when people legitimately cannot escape a stalker, an abuser, etc. When we have the power to do it, you want to sit there, yeah, look at the French, that's how they should do it. Oh, look at South Korea, they got it going on. Oh, look at this country, oh yeah, they did. All the grandmas in Ukraine doing it, and y'all the biggest one. America strong, Civil War 2.0, I'm ready. Where you at? Where the fuck you at? Because every time it's time to knuckle up, you hadn't. You're cowering in the corner. You want to talk about who shouldn't be in the military and they shouldn't be out. They have what you don't have. The balls, the gall, the courage, the wherewithal, the not just talking it, but walking it and being about it. Y'all sit there, well, this is just the status quo. I ain't got time for this, but you want the fucking change. You just want to act like you're too good to help the change come about. That's the dumbest shit ever. Like y'all will try to find a moral authority over everybody, a moral superiority in every situation to your fucking detriment. Because if this whole bitch blows up, you're blowing up with it, dumb fuck. His group spent nearly $1 million on ads opposing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Donald Trump's pick to lead the nation's health agencies. He's delivering speeches urging the president to stand with longstanding foreign allies and lobbying members of Congress while aides write letters and opinion columns. That is one person doing this. And don't tell me, I don't have that budget. I don't have that time. You will write entire fucking dissertations in a complete stranger's comment section because you don't like how their eyebrows look. You can write a letter, you can write an email, you can hop on the phone, you can send a fucking text message to your representative. Hell, you can start writing other people's representatives because in all technicality, they all represent all of us. You'll make 25 fucking clapback videos, spend 5 days and 7 nights trying to find somebody's real name, their employer, who their mama is, who they dated in the 2nd grade, who was their first kiss, who did they lose their virginity to, who was in the delivery room when they were born, what color their toenail polish is right now. But you can't tell you all of a sudden too busy and get all these fucking excuses when it comes to your freedoms. This weekend, he posted an article he penned more than a decade ago on the limits of presidential power after Trump claimed that he who saves the country does not violate any law. And y'all do realize you can submit editorials, you can submit opinion pieces. Y'all sit there talking about, I don't care what this celebrity has to say, as if celebrities aren't citizens, as if they aren't voters, as if they aren't taxpayers. Y'all miss me with that shit. If you want to complain and tell people that they can't have a voice when it comes to things that directly affect them, then hey, have legislation passed where they're no longer under our laws, they no longer have to pay taxes, and they'll shut the fuck up. But you can also submit your own opinion pieces. You can start a blog. You can do a lot of things instead of sitting on your ass complaining about everything else while we're getting flushed down the drain. Mike Pence is emerging as one of the last Republicans in Washington willing to publicly criticize the new administration. It's an especially jarring role for the former vice president, whose refusal to break with Trump defined their time together in office until the two had a falling out over Trump's refusal to accept the results of the 2020 election and his efforts to remain in power. And the fact that Trump called for his death. Pence and those who work with him at Advancing American Freedom, his political advocacy group, stress they are not looking to take on the never Trump mantle. They intend to praise the administration when they agree with it, while raising concerns when they don't, advocating for longtime conservative principles that have fallen out of favor as Trump's Make America Great Again brand of populism has taken hold. And I'm glad they called it populism, because that's exactly what the fuck it is. Y'all, this is why I say the vast majority of conservatives aren't conservative. They're just tossing it around because they believe that that gives them some type of moral superiority over the next person. Because when you break it down, when conservatism started in this country, that is what you're conserving. There is no forward motion. If you are able to move forward and accept change, you're not a conservative. Number one. Number two, Mike Pence's stance is how everyone should be. One, you are not supposed to have blind loyalty to any person or any entity. And no, this isn't about anything religious. This is just life. You cannot just be blindly loyal. Unconditionally loyal. Fuck, everything has a fucking condition. Everything got terms and conditions. Okay, down to your love and your friendship. Okay, and the people representing you, the people that are in charge of your life, because that's essentially what the government is, people in charge of your life. You should be able to look at them and criticize them. All of this, people are above critique because you like them politically, is bullshit. You have a favorite team, you have a favorite band, you have a favorite actor, you have a favorite everything. They are not above reproach. If they do something despicable, you're not going to sit there and be like, well, I know they killed 67 people, but we're not supposed to talk about that. The fuck? The fuck? But you found out somebody you don't like sneezed twice in a movie theater and you ready to cancel them and ruin everything about them. What the fuck ever. What the fuck ever. But as always, thank you for joining me. If you want to see how what's going on now is brought into context with what has happened before, and that we are perpetually just in this crazy Groundhog Day of life, make sure you follow me on all platforms. Everything is linked in my bio. And keep in mind, there are resources and classes listed in my bio as well. Take advantage, including those that are distancing themselves from or holding on to DEIA. So, and that's diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. As always, thanks for joining. And each one teach one, each one reach one. Now go out, get into some good trouble.